Metal Skim Panic Maddox 01 is quite possibly one of the most unintentionally funny anime I have ever seen. Released in 1987, this one comes to us from AIC and Mech, the duo that brought you Bubblegum Crisis, and other things that aren't Bubblegum Crisis, like this. It has one of the dumbest protagonists I've ever seen in an OVA, and believe me, that is really saying something, along with a story that only happens because everyone is either an idiot or a literal psychopath. But,
come on, shrimp!
It's still kinda good. And unlike many other releases, this one is actually on Blu-ray, and for a decent price.
Care to make a purchase?
Even my broke ass was able to snag a copy for this video. Unlike that Violence Jack collection, I mean, damn. On an unrelated note, does anyone need a spare frontal lobe? Not like I'm using it for anything too productive.
Or not a good thing. Inflation.
This OVA is only 40 minutes, so if any of it looks cool to you so far, go check it out, and if you enjoy it enough, snag one of those Blu-rays before they end up costing as much as a mortgage. The best way I can sum up Metal Skim Panic is imagine if you came up with a really sick mech design, but then realized, oh wait, I don't have a story for this, and then you probably inhaled a certain substance, and came up with something that made sense in the moment, but then you think about it more and it doesn't, but you're already locked in, and well, you get something like this, but with fantastic animation. The plot of Metal Skim Panic Maddox 01 revolves around the titular slave trooper, Maddox 01, a powerful combat exosuit being developed by the military to blow up tanks, with the help of a scientist named Ellie Kusamoto. They're transporting it when someone gets a flat on the freeway, resulting in the Maddox conveniently landing in the back of a delivery truck belonging to a driver named Onase. Now, instead of reporting it, he decides to bring it down to his mechanic buddy, Koji Sugimoto.
なんだよこれ。知りませんよ。いつの間にかトラックに乗ってたんですよ。
Gee, you think it could be connected to the giant hole it left in the roof? But I guess he didn't spot that. Pretty hard to miss though. Like the big mound in my backyard. Seriously, no one ever asks about that. It's pretty convenient. So when Koji sees this, he's like, okay, I'll take it from here. He starts taking a look and decides he's gonna hop in. But then... he winds up trapped inside. Now, he's got an appointment to meet his girl Shiori, who his relationship with is in jeopardy. Naturally, he decides that even though he's stuck in a mech suit, that's no reason to miss such an important occasion. What could go wrong? Well, now he's got this psycho Lieutenant Kilgore on his ass, and is responsible for millions of dollars in damages. Good job, buddy. Hope it was worth it for this girl you were already planning on breaking up with.
つまり俺たちももうこれっきりってわけだ。
Sure glad that wasn't our plane.
There sadly isn't a ton of development info on Metal Skim Panic, and the best source I found was an article on Zimmerit.mo, titled Kabukicho Wars, the Metal Skim Panic Maddox 01 plan and design document. The article features some early concept art, and even has a link to the design document itself, which was meant to show off the concept and attract a studio partner. See, Mech focused solely on original concepts, which they would then pitch to other studios as collaborations. They were basically idea guys, but it worked because the ideas were cool. I encourage you to check out the document if you want all of the details, but the long and short of it is that the original pitch had a lot more going on. It featured a dystopian tone, with Japan manufacturing its own weaponry with the help of money-hungry corporations who were only building these weapons for the sake of it. It was also going to be set in the red light district of Kabukicho, giving it a seedier feel rife with yakuza and industry. Koji is described as a shallow, small-minded guy with no real aim in life, with him finding the Maddox sending him on a sort of power trip. Shiori was a working girl he picked up along the way from a brothel, and he would end up going on a rampage to make Michael Douglas from Falling Down jealous. I really like the original idea for the pitch, with Koji being a much more engaging anti-hero, but for whatever reason, the director, writer, and mech designer, Shinji Aramaki, decided we didn't need any of that, and massively simplified the story. But before I go deeper into how amazingly bad the plot is, let me talk about the main reason to watch this OVA, the animation, and mechanical design. A little background on Aramaki: Metal Skin Panic was his directorial debut. He got his start in the industry as a toy designer, before graduating to designing machines on projects like Mospeada, Mask, and Megazone 2-3, which he eventually directed the third installment of. We don't talk about that one. But I will always respect him for creating several of my favorite Transformers, back when they were originally part of the Microchange line. Particularly Soundwave himself. God, this guy is so awesome I could kiss him. Oh wait, he did those CG Starship Troopers movies. Never mind. And that's where my opinion of him sours a bit. As a designer, he is god tier. But as a writer and with his more recent directorial work, yikes. Remaining positive though, his skills as a director in the medium of hand-drawn animation are unquestionably great. And it makes me sad he primarily stuck to CGI, since while some of his projects in that style look cool, I think this is better. The opening shots show that Aramaki knew what to lean on when it came to the visuals, with the incredible amount of detail shown as the Maddox is introduced in its testing phase. What I like about Aramaki's designs, and the Maddox especially, is how convincing they look in a certain way. Would this thing realistically function if built? Fuck no. But it's designed in a manner where you can imagine that it could. There is a high amount of detail on every machine present, to an impressive degree. Even the rank-and-file tanks we see the Maddox battling in the intro have a cool presence. While in motion, these complex-looking designs don't become sloppier. Maybe a little less shaded, but there's no loss in the detail of the models themselves, which is something I see plenty of mecha anime struggle with at times. The Maddox has become one of my new favorite mecha after watching this. Hey, there's even a model kit which I can have for my food budget. The bulky and industrial yet smooth design, the silhouette with these wings, the simple metallic gray color scheme with subdued yellow and green highlights, and all of these other little features that demonstrate how much care went into the design. Love those three-toed feet especially. You can see an influence from many military vehicles, which lends to that real robot aesthetic, although Ellie's Maddox is no slouch either in the looks department. And neither is she. Yeah, the human designs are just as good. Even the background characters all look unique. Like, look at that girl. She looks like she could be a primary character in another project. Or maybe I just have a thing for girls with weird colored hair. In which case, that explains why I watch so much of this crap. The human designer was Hideki Tamura, who actually doesn't do this kind of work too often, so props especially. He's more of a general animation guy, like on Transformers, which is great because it gives me another excuse to bring up Transformers. I fucking love that shit. The animation in general is on the better looking side. Nice. It didn't blow me away as much as some of AIC and ArtMic's other collaborations, but everything looks cool, and there's a good amount of motion. So it's not one of those anime where half the shots are people just standing around while their lips flap.
If we release the energy from the power packs now, something might happen to the Sigma computer.
What?
The only part that seemed a bit lazy was this scene in the street, where it seems the crowds of people were replaced with immobile wax sculptures. But I still like the environment itself, although I'm biased. I love old neon-filled 80s cities. There's a lot of nice attention to detail, but the action is where it shines the most. All the boosting going on here is giving me Armored Core vibes, along with the blatant disregard for public property.
Is that absolutely necessary?
If I had to pick a favorite segment, it would be when Ellie pilots a prototype Maddox to try and recapture the original, resulting in the two duking it out through the halls of a high-rise building. This part in particular where the power goes out, and the mechs are lit up by the muzzle flashes of their own weapons, it's so cool. The Maddox also has a good sense of weight to it. In fact, it's almost always breaking through shit. There's also a nice contrast of, at times, heavy shadows, and that stark reflective sheen you get in older anime that really stands out thanks to the cell animation. It's all enhanced by the fantastic Blu-ray transfer, so you're really able to appreciate all of this stuff to its fullest. Like this baffling text on the Maddox's storage container. Walt Disney Productions, Steven Lisberger, director. The design work for this feature started with the aircraft. The other English in here isn't gobbledygook, so I don't know what the deal with that is. I found out during my research that Hideaki Anno worked on the animation for this one, proving that anything the man is even slightly involved with is gold. Actually, there were a few people in here who worked on some Anno-related projects too, and other classic mech shows that have the same style I enjoy. Tomohiro Harada, Takahiro Omori, Shoichi Masuo.
The gang's all here.
So no wonder this OVA looks so good most of the time. There was some real talent on hand. Also, here's another fun fact I learned while working on this video. It turns out that this is a secret Bubblegum Crisis prequel, since the events of it are referenced in the timeline for the role-playing game rulebook, which is kind of awesome. The music by Ken Yajima is a pretty solid selection of tracks, but sadly there's been no proper soundtrack release, and I couldn't find any of the tracks save one to use in this video. As such, I've primarily used music from mech-related games. List is in the description. I was a little surprised though. It's the first time I've had this happen while going to do a review. The sound design is really good though. So now that I'm done praising, back to the story. It sucks, but I don't mind as it's not boring. Quite the opposite, in fact. It made me laugh several times.
Looks like I've stopped.
Oh. Excuse me?
Huh? Yes, I'll take this, please. Can you warm it up in a microwave?
Some of the goofier stuff, like that scene, seems intentional, but everything is still so awkward. No one really reacts to the Maddox like you'd expect. In that clip, people aren't calling the cops or fleeing after it busted through a store wall, and when Koji goes to get gas, the people only seem slightly confused. The funniest scene is where these punks are angry that Koji is hogging up the road, and so they run him off it. They aren't wondering why there's a giant robot in the street, nor do they think it might come back to bite them if they fuck with it, which it does. What am I watching? This crowd does not give a fuck. The craziest example of this is Koji himself, though. He behaves like he's mildly inconvenienced at most being trapped in the Maddox. Like, aw damn, I can't eat my shrimp. What a bummer. Ah well, guess it's time to go see my girlfriend. Don't you think she might be a little freaked out if you show up in a walking tank? She'll probably think you're about to pull some shit. The only thing that drives him is meeting this girl at the NSR building. Even when the military gets involved, he doesn't think, maybe I should surrender this suit first. The slightest chance that this may delay him is enough for him to throw the fuck down. Now, granted, that one was an accident, but this sure as hell wasn't. What's strange, though, is at first he's shown to be competent with tech, but then for the sake of the plot happening, he becomes a complete bumbling idiot.
Now this is convenient.
Whatever needs to happen for the story to move forward does, regardless of what's been established or makes sense. At least it's funny, though. Seriously, if you took the premise and made it a full-on comedy, I could see some potential. Ellie is, She's there. She's no nonsense, I guess, but more of an exposition machine than anything. Shiori has some conflict about being sent overseas by her father to study, and thus leaving Koji behind, but then she just becomes a typical damsel in distress, and that's it. Kilgore is also very one-dimensional, but he's also fucking insane.
This scent, this taste, war is heaven!
Fuck, man, that's some Judge Holden shit right there. Watch your ass, Koji, and I mean that literally. He's completely cartoony, but damn is he entertaining from what we get of him. At first I thought he just wanted vengeance on the Maddox for making his tank unit obsolete in comparison, but I get the feeling he would have found any excuse to wreak havoc that he could.
It's not worth turning Tokyo into another Vietnam.
Tokyo or Vietnam, it's all the same battlefield to me.
Oh yeah, there's a dub. Actually, two. The first, released by Manga Entertainment, is pretty trash.
So who is this Kilgore character anyway, huh?
You'll know him when you meet him.
Do you really think I can beat this guy?
You and Maddox will make a great team. You are fabulous back there. You think very fast.
While the other, by Animego, is better, but not by much.
Lieutenant Kilgore, you fought admirably in today's maneuvers. But you just can't beat the Maddox in street warfare.
Today you were lucky, but this isn't over. I'll have my revenge, I swear it.
Something odd that I thought was an error at first is that all the dialogue has this weird reverb effect on it, like everyone is talking through a tin can, and they call the Maddox the Maddox.
Maddox.
Not sure where they got that Y from, but then again, with how bad I am at pronouncing names, I can't really talk shit. The OVA ends with Kilgore and his experimental tank facing off against Koji and the Maddox. The lieutenant has him trapped with cables, and is gonna drag him down. How's Koji gonna get out of this one? Oh, there's an eject switch, which he didn't notice until now.
Logic is for pussies.
Well, that's good for him. And look, he got the girl too. Too bad he's probably gonna spend the rest of his life behind bars for all that damage he caused, but whatever. The credits roll before that happens, so it's all good. And I like this ending theme a lot. At least you can hear this song in its entirety. Now, while this OVA is a mess, it's still fun, and the key reason is that thanks to its short runtime, it doesn't overstay its welcome. I truly wish we had gotten to see the original version from the pitch document, since it sounds way better, but at least the end result is entertaining, and gave us what I think is one of the coolest mechs in an OVA. It also deserves recognition for being the first release by Animego, a distribution company founded by the co-creator of the Wizardry games, Robert Woodhead, and another developer by the name of Ro R. Adams III. First of all, I never thought I'd bring up Wizardry in an anime video. At least, not yet. But they were also responsible for releasing a lot of anime in the West that wouldn't have had the chance otherwise. And it all started with this one. So hey, credit where credit's due. Maddox may not be the most widely recognized of ArtMech's catalog, and don't get me wrong, I don't think it's nearly as good as most of their other mech shows even in terms of the animation, but I had a lot of fun researching it, and finding out about all of these weird connections it has. Aramaki has said in the Blu-ray director's commentary that he's embarrassed of the project, and story-wise I can see why, although I hate to say it, man, it's not much worse than the plots of a lot of his newer stuff, but from a visual standpoint, this is something to be proud of. Check it out if you've got 40 minutes to kill, and don't mind a goofy and borderline nonsensical plot. If you go in with the right mindset, you'll have fun.
Why can't you people just leave me alone?